Dulcinea was defeated. The parade halted, but the eradication of the Mansion was far from over. Don Quixote then proceeded to interrogate Dulcinea, demanding answers. How did she claim to know what weight her name carried? This wasn't being taken well for her. Dulcinea told her everything that they desire, to exist in ignorance of the truth, that they've been going in circles, not marching towards what lies ahead. Something that they desire, but don't have, but she has. Sanson then spoke of what this was, and said, oblivion. And he appeared as he whisked away Dulcinea. Apparently that's all that's in that area yearn for. Yes, they all yearn for oblivion. Being able to flee from everything, from desires, from shame, to allow them to live through another day. Heathcliff could see what was coming next and said, not again. Don Quixote was unable to speak. Sanson thought that it was about time that she missed him, to regale them with that particular tale, how that adventure where she abandoned them all ended. Ishmael didn't know what he was talking about. Rocinante was merrily and energetically galloping on with Don Quixote upon its saddle. Romero told him to just die, and Sanson just killed him in response, which did him a favor. Continued by saying, while leaving them to slowly expire in a most painful death, just like him. Don Quixote had enough of this. She didn't want this to continue, although she's unable to physically stop him on this occasion, begging him to not turn her tongue into a spear to skewer him. She wants him to end this. He asked, why should they stop now? Doesn't she love sharing her stories of adventures with everyone? Isn't it what she wished for? She had a captive audience, listening to her more intently than ever. She won't get another opportunity like that. She doesn't want to. Not anymore. Sadly, Sanson wasn't giving her a choice in this matter. That's her part in this. So she, Rocinante, and the Knight of the White Moon embarks on their final adventure. Or rather, she fled. Sinclair, as the Knight of the White Moon, saw so many rivers on the way there. Don Quixote asked if these rivers were beneath the city all along. Then Sinclair mentioned something significant. When an effervescent tree comes to blossom, steeped and nurtured in the waters of many rivers since its saplinghood, it becomes imbued with a special power. He couldn't even begin to imagine what powers a tree born from that particular set of circumstances might hold. Now this is likely how the golden bars were made, and the power they have, as demonstrated in Chapter 6, is to rewrite reality, which is capable of doing so to multiple universes. Perhaps this is where Lobotomy Corporation got them, and the branch facilities were built under where they were located. As for these rivers, one such river was under Wuthering Heights, which, based on what little is known about it, the walls of reality are thinner there, which either prevented the dead from passing on or showed unclear visions of individuals from other universes. Such as how Josephine saw Mrs. Earnshaw, which was either Mrs. Earnshaw or a variant of Catherine. Don Quixote asked what river they sought. Sinclair told her that none of those they visited are what they were looking for. She asked if it wasn't that one either. It wasn't. They needed to seek a river that flows even deeper into the abyss. The depths of the ruins are certainly dangerous, even for those that have visited them in the past. It's certainly a challenge for her, isn't it? She asked what river was that, and Sinclair told her that whoever drank from that river will be granted a vision of a certain future, binding them to all things save for those that leads to that future, which drives them to insanity. The only future that matters, The only future that matters to them is a vision of their own madness. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? This is the river of Mirai Mirai, or Future Future. It's the name that he gave, as its name has been lost. She saw it as quite the irony. Sinclair added that it won't show her the exact moments that she wished to see. It'll show her a certain moment in the future. It's quite disorientating. But would she try anyway? She didn't wish to be so close to it, but she shall. He asked what she saw. She saw chains. The contracts in the tutorial. The great gates. The gates of hell, possibly. A flaming timepiece. Now that's definitely Dante. And a promise. Virgilius. Likely during the beatdown, there was a reminder of that. There were visions that she failed to make sense of, but we know that it's a vision of her time with Limbus Company as one of the damned dozen, combined with what Dante saw when they brought them back. Sinclair told her that she wouldn't get a clearer picture unless she drank the waters. He suspected that she might have made a promise with this clock. She spoke of the promised timepiece. Sanson then spoke of how she suffered through brutal trials, one after another. She arrived at a place that she's been searching for. Then at the end of that tale, she found the River of Oblivion. Urtis knew this as Lethe. In Greek mythology, Lethe was a river of the underworld. Those that drank this experienced complete forgetfulness. Souls were made to drink from this before reincarnating, so that they wouldn't remember their past lives. This caught Jar-Sichun's attention. Sanson announced that to be what the Knight of the Moon spoke. Are you certain? Drink from this and the life that you lived will be no more. Don Quixote She reflexively gulps and told the Knight of the White Moon that she's decided, and Sinclair asked why. If she would answer him. She saw it past the darkness of her eyelids, a vision of that day, screaming, shouting, the stench of blood. The more she recalled, the more she found herself cracking and crumbling like a castle of sand. She wished to forget everything and sleep dearly. That way there will be no fear, no hope, no suffering, and no glory. Sinclair reminded her of the unsavory part of sleep. Don Quixote answered by saying that it's much like death, but distinguishes itself in ways that matter. Sinclair understood that she wanted to dream, and Don Quixote then spoke of words that made them leave everything behind, only to shackle them in the end. She wanted to continue the dream that she had previously been a mere witness to. Sinclair understood that he had no other way to help her. Then the name of that companion was spoken. Sinclair decided to introduce himself to her one last time before oblivion took her. He was a flower seeker, a wanderer, a traveller across the city and the ruins, one who marked the final period to that unforgotten adventure of a lifetime. The name was Bari, the Knight of the White Moon. He will now leave to return to his search for the river and the flower born of its waters, as he always has. Don Quixote asked if he'd tell her tales of fixes should she drink from the river. Sinclair told her that he passed by often through his journey. He'll leave a book or an item behind every chance he got, which might be of help to her. She thanked him. Sanson said that was when she wanted to drink from the river. It didn't matter what kind of knight was in front of her. Don Quixote then shuddered from an overwhelming sense of terror and omen from this. Don Quixote refused to let her fear touch her, to get in her way. She had written many tales of brave adventure. Sanson spoke of how every tale needs rising action and a climax, ups and downs that keep things interesting. Don Quixote was struggling to move, but was unsuccessful this time. Sanson didn't give a and continued as if he was incanting a spell. Sanson spoke of a primeval fear of the flowing water. The body shuddered, the skin crawling. She struggled to approach the water, her heart rate increasing, as if she was a rabid animal. Yet she had to conquer this. Moments before she sipped the river's water, a thought occurred. That to continue this adventure was meaningless. That was how she dismounted Rocinante, which was only borrowed from its original master. She looked down towards Rocinante. Dante and Faust knew what Sanson was attempting to accomplish, to draw out her memories from the River of Oblivion. Dante told her not to. Then they told Faust to do something. She was unable to do anything, even if she wanted to. Heathcliff wasn't sure why they were so serious. Ishmael was able to figure it out. Based on all the tales, not believing that she's... Jia Sichun didn't think that this was possible. Honglu wanted to, know what she was thinking of this. She wasn't entirely sure that she was right about this, but if she was right, then he'll find out, even if he'd rather not. She complimented his ability to stay calm. Then Don Quixote's spine slowly bent forward. There was no resistance to this. Moving as if it was destined, as though this was a part of a play. She appeared tranquil, even brave, like a knight dismounting from a steed, yet once she did so and her memories returned, the others would know that she's a blood fiend by her red eyes and the stench of blood surrounding her. Then they'll never be able to see her in the same light again. I suspect Heathcliff might tell her, "Remind me not to mouth off at you anymore." Radia wanted Dante to clarify this. Yi Sang saw this as something to do with her shoes. This was what Dante feared since the warp train incident. Exactly what they tried to avoid. The fear that the bond between them would be broken beyond any possibility of recovery. Will the others be accepting of this deception, even if it wasn't intentional? Even if they survived, would she return to how she was? How will they see them? As they knowingly hid this from them? Could they truly face Don Quixote? One that he went to brown alert upon seeing her like that last time. Yet they stopped thinking about this, and she took off Rocinante and let her bare feet touch the ground. All of her memories came rushing into Dante, raw and unfiltered. Another voice told her to flee in order to live and continue someone's tale. But Don Quixote didn't think that she could live among humans. This other voice told her that with Rocinante, no place was beyond her reach. Don Quixote ordered Rocinante to stop. She didn't want to leave, asking why didn't they obey her. She didn't want an adventure, asking them to stop, but they kept ignoring her, to not take her away from there. Then someone spoke of amusement parks in the city. She was telling others about this, that everyone was happy there just by being there. It's enough to make everyone dance, sing and laugh. No wars, no strife of any kind. Don Quixote, in reality, had her eyes become red again. Dante never wanted to see this again. She slowly inhaled and exhaled as if she was herself once more. She looked down at the blood fiends surrounding them. She saw them as beneath her. Dulcinea saw her as the real her. Seeing the preparations for the carnival, the scenes were complete, remembering the eyes that regarded her as she mercilessly tore through them without a single hint of regret or guilt. She now saw every path was opened, that the parade was complete at last. Then someone talked to Sancho, that he's come to a decision. Sancho asked, what was it now? He wanted to be the best fixer in the city. He shall protect the weak and punish the wicked. From what he's heard, the people of the city are making associations out of necessity. Sancho asked if he got that idea from the Night of the White Moon. She told him that his new goal of his is going to crash and burn in less than 3 days, telling him to quit stirring trouble and stay put, reminding him that he tried knitting, embroidery. That lasted 2 days before he got bored. That was after he sent them to find high-quality yarn for that. Clearly, an immortal's greatest battle is with boredom. I don't think he has ADHD, as if he did have that, his passion project would likely, well, more likely last 2 minutes, never mind 2 days. He told Sancho to shut up. She keeps criticizing his passions. He's having a difficult time determining which one of them is the higher kindred. Sancho understood that he'd do what he wanted anyway. Sinclair was running towards something, and Sinclair was asking if she was Don Quixote. Roger was asking where she was going. Then it was clear, by this point, that the blonde lunatic Don Quixote wasn't really Don Quixote, she was actually Sancho. And we see her standing from above the castle asking if she will be coming today again. They need to put an end to their rivalry, or she saw it as pointless to tell them to end that. Then the other voice was having a certain force as of late. Why does it matter when someone wins or loses? What matters is that he must hear what comes next in her tale. She keeps cutting short her story at its climax. She has nothing, not knowing why he keeps letting her in, a human. Where if he's not going to fight, he told her that for all her chiding words of disapproval, asking if she thinks that he hasn't noticed that her attention was attracted as well, especially the part where the Hana Association fixer encountered the monster that demanded that they pay it all with a single rice cake on the winding path. Sounds similar to how Momotaro, in that story, was able to elicit a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant to assist him in exchange for kibi dango, or millet dumplings. Sancho denied this. He told her that she did. She then was asked by him if she thinks that Hana Association will eventually come out on top. Sancho didn't think so. She believed that the fixers of the Zwei would overtake them. This proved him right. Dante called out to Don Quixote. Then we see Sancho ask how he'll become a fixer himself. They're a concept constructed by humans. They will try to hunt them the moment they get anywhere near them. He agreed that it's the case, for now at least. He wanted Sancho to think, to not miss the forest from the trees. Should they start paving the way for peace now? One day they'll find themselves coexisting with humans. He'll be the first blood fiend to become a fixer, asking if that was not a wondrous idea. Entertaining the idea of a fan club for him. Now, Sancho saw it as such, perhaps in that ridiculous grand dream of his. Then we see him as someone that looks like an evil version of Adrian Fahrenheit Teppich, or Alucard from the Castlevania universe, who told her, yes, it's how dreams are meant to be, ridiculously grand. Then we see Sancho in different times, opening doors, one to an unknown location, the other in La Mancha land. In the past, Sancho regarded her surroundings with awe, and in the present she was horrified. As the door opened, the man on the other side saw that Sancho had returned to him. It was the same voice that talked to Sancho in the memories of the past that Dante was able to pick up. It was beyond the wooden doors and heavy chains. As soon as the doors opened, they could feel the energy of the golden bar emanating within. As for the smell, it was either rusted iron or the metallic smell of blood. And he was not in good shape, as he was one with the pillar, and with many sharp objects in him. He speaks to them through the golden bar embedded in his torso, specifically to Sancho. He wanted Sancho to tell him all about it, that dream of his, that he had dreamed, and wanted her to dream in his stead. Yes, this was first kindred, Don Quixote. The one that had set Sancho off on the journey around 2 centuries ago. The golden bower is in front of them, although I doubt it to be that easy to get it. Until next time, hail the rabbit!